for a lot of years, I just didn't know where Filipinos fit. Where do I fit? Am I supposed to fit? If you lack confidence in a city that is buzzing with opportunity, even if the opportunity hits you in the face, you're going to be like, not worth it. I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to do it. Who's going to believe me? Who's going to take me seriously?
Welcome to Proudly Asian, a podcast series that tells bold and proud stories of Asians by Asians. My name is Isabel, your podcast host, and I'm here to find stories that challenge biases we face every day. There's never just one way to look at Asians. This podcast will take you through a deep dive into the life stories, struggles, and triumphs of young Asians around the world. On today's episode, we have Sarah V, a Hong Kong Filipino entrepreneur who is the founder of Women of Hong Kong. As one of Hong Kong's largest networks for female entrepreneurs and professionals, Sarah has built a community for women from all walks of life. She joins us to talk about her journey from insecurity to creating a safe place that empowers more than 13,000 women. Welcome back to Proudly Asian and wishing you all a belated Happy New Year and welcoming our guest for our brand new season 6, Sarah. Sarah, finally you're here. You're on Proudly Asian.
It only took nearly 2 years to get here.
I know.
But I'm glad.
I'm
glad.
That
was my fault.
No, it wasn't. This is the right time for us both to be sitting here, after what we went through in the past couple of years. There's a lot of learning, a lot of a lot
more to talk about.
Exactly. So I'm glad we do it when we do it. So, I mean, like I said before the recording, it wouldn't really be the Proudly Asian show without you, without the founder of Women of Hong Kong.
Thank
you.
I'm
so glad you finally are here.
I'm here. It was on my big wish list. So thank you for having me.
You are on mine too. And you all should realize how lucky you are to be listening to Sarah. So she's a woman about town in Hong Kong. Literally a woman of Hong Kong. So without further ado, why don't we just kick off with one of the basic questions we have for every guest who stopped by Proudly Asian. Tell us about your background, Sarah. Who are you? What are you? And where did you grow up?
Okay, we're going to dissect that. So who am I? I'm Sarah V. I'm the founder of Women of Hong Kong. I'm a Filipina born and raised in Hong Kong. I cannot speak Cantonese, sadly. God left my creative juices as the biggest skill I own. So that's a good thing. I'm a mom of one boy, handsome, smart, talented, scientific boy called Jaden. He's 15 soon. And what do I do on my free time? I try to...
Do you ever have free time?
Oh my gosh.
That's the question.
I think when I do have free time, I try to fill it up with something I want to do.
Okay.
Which is abundant. There's so many options now, which is so great for me. As we were talking, just opportunities are great.
Including being on this pod.
Oh, yes. Great start to the year.
Yeah. And I mean, for our listeners' context, you did not start off your career with Women of Hong Kong. So you definitely kind of had a more traditional career in marketing and PR before. And as I read on your LinkedIn as well, your life and career also took many different turns.
Oh, yes.
And I also read, as some of our listeners might know, you have taken a lot of media interviews before this as well. So I read some of them and you mentioned, one point that really stood out to me was when you said, there was a point in your life when you did not like yourself very much.
Oh, yeah.
Which was something that not a lot of people would expect coming from you, right? Now being the very powerful founder of Women of Hong Kong, a community that uplifts a lot of women in the city. So
thank you.
Yeah, thank you for what you do. I've been to many, many events organized by Women of Hong Kong. And every time I got to say, your events are what I enjoyed the most. I felt the most seen, the safest, and all the ladies are just so supportive for each other.
God. We're like 3 minutes in. You're gonna make me cry.
No.
I really do have to just give a quick shout out to my team. Like, I can't execute or create these safe spaces without them. They understand the mission. They understand the level of execution and care required for people like you to take that feeling away after an event. So I feel great to have such an amazing group of women that backs me up for this.
They're amazing. Yeah, your team.
Yeah. Oh my God, lucky me.
Shout out to your team. And yeah, I mean, every time when people ask me, like whenever they saw my IG stories, like, oh, you've been to an event hosted by Women of Hong Kong. What was it like?
Yeah.
And I just said like, well, the events are amazing because their events are one of those events that like women would fix makeup for each other.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
just how I
Or
described
tell
it.
you have like broccoli in your teeth.
Exactly.
Which some people won't tell you.
I know.
I'm like, why?
I know. Like, I mean, I would. Like,
Yeah, I would too. But that's
yeah.
why you're in that room, right? That's why you love these events, because it's a reflection of who you are too.
Yeah.
You're accepting of the environment. You're enjoying the experience because it's what you would create for other people, just like the podcast. Proudly
Exactly.
Asian. You've
Oh,
created
thank you.
that space for honesty and vulnerability to come out. Before we started hitting record, I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much tea, because I feel like I could be honest here.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do believe like strongly that being able to be vulnerable in front of others, or like providing that room for others to be vulnerable, is the most powerful form of support. Like, not to make fun of other people's vulnerability, because who does not have it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like when people do make fun of other people's vulnerabilities, it's to shield themselves from having their vulnerabilities be pointed out. I think that's also why bullies are made.
Exactly. So I guess
Unfortunately.
definitely like one misconception that we still need to keep fighting is like by putting down other people, it does not make you stronger.
Oh my gosh, I had that just a couple weeks ago. I feel like this is the first tea, but I'm gonna spill it.
Yes,
it was
spill it.
It was an unfortunate situation where one of our members, bless her, was marketing her upcoming workshop to help people get educated on a very important topic. I won't say too much on that because then it'll pinpoint who I'm talking about. She decided to share that on a group that was made by another women's community, and they had told her to take it down because the Women of Hong Kong logo was very apparent, and their founder would not like that. And I simply cannot understand why that is a problem, because I see so many women's organizations events in ours, because Women of Hong Kong is not mine. I made it, yes, but it does not belong to me. It belongs back to the women that made it happen. For me, there shouldn't be any restrictions for women's organizations, because this is supposed to be collaborative. If anything, women understand women more than any other person, right?
And there's simply not enough support for women.
No, we should be giving more. We should be coming together. So for me, I'm not throwing hate out there or shade out there, but I am hoping that if there are other women's organizations listening to this, that you remember the mission of why we're coming together as women, whether it's for business, for finance, for charity, for nonprofit, or simply for socializing. It's because women feel the need to belong. Do not ostracize other women for looking for other people to come support them at their event. That is a terrible feeling.
Exactly. Of all the challenges that women face, I think having to fight other women should not be the challenge.
No, yes, but that is a constant. I can truly say that the journey of building Women of Hong Kong has taught me to exercise a lot more empathy than I would like to. and have learned what boundary setting really means, because you can't just have empathy and no boundaries. You'll be stepped on all over the place.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
And I mean, like going back to the very basics, right? Because as I understand it, women of Hong Kong did not start off as women of Hong Kong.
No.
It used to be girl of LKF.
Yes.
It means Lan Kwai Fong, the party district in Hong Kong back in the day.
Yes. I love that you
And
brought that up.
it was a group with an aim to help women in Hong Kong find safe drinking venues.
Yes.
So that's how Women of Hong Kong was born. Right?
Yes. It was the idea of, most of us working women, we need a drink at the end of the day. And back then, there was no Me Too movement. Women wouldn't share out loud on Facebook if they were treated badly. But my role back then in 2014, which was the year that Girls of Lan Kwai Fong was created, I was a venue manager, a club manager. So I would curate spaces and theme parties and events for people to attend the club. And my friends would come and have a good time. But there were instances where, example, a nice gentleman would approach one of my friends. And if she declined his drink, he would say, "You're not that pretty anyway." Or worse, get a physical shove aside because,
No.
So I just had this eureka moment. What if I made a little group for women to socialize, network, and go have fun together, so that we could show off our dresses to each other, wear the boldest lipsticks, because it's not for the male gaze, it's for us.
And fix each other's makeup.
Yes.
Since the very beginning.
And that blew up. So that was the start of Girls of Lan Kwai Fong.
Nice.
12 women to 30 to 50 to
Wow.
to 2,000 on a Facebook group by 2016.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
The WhatsApp wasn't a big thing then. It was Facebook group.
Oh, wow. And at what point did it start transforming into Women of Hong Kong and the Women of Hong Kong that it is today?
Great question. So in 2016, we were on a Facebook group and I kicked off the first WhatsApp group. I think the limit was 257. I believe about 80 women joined from the Facebook group. And we slowly migrated to the WhatsApp chats. My memory is fuzzy, but I recall there were situations in Hong Kong that led to constant protests, constant unease for people that lived in the city. So the WhatsApp chat that was called Girls of LKF quickly went from, "Ladies, where can we go for drinks? Where's the best hot nail spa?" To, "I just lost my job," or "I'm currently struggling," or "I need some advice." And I saw the potential by 2016 that this could be something really big. But of course, imposter syndrome says, "Nope, don't do anything. No one's going to listen to you." I had that idea for a very long time. And I remember we went into COVID, 2019 to 2020. That was the start of it. And that was the year I started formulating, okay, I think it's about time that more women found out about the WhatsApp chat because of how resourceful the women in there was. There was no sign-up page before. For you to get into the WhatsApp group, a friend would have to send your number to the admin, which was just me. Your friend would have to send their number to me. Yeah, I just thought, I'm getting so much help out of this. And so are the current 212 women in here. What happens if we get more? What happens if more women, maybe like at least 400 people? But I think it didn't stop there. Now we're at 13,000.
Wow.
We're at 13,000 members.
Congratulations.
Thank
what
you.
What a milestone. And
Thank you.
it's just in a matter of 4 years.
Three and a
4
half,
years. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
And
it's
since
incredible.
then, you have evolved from kind of like a WhatsApp group into, you know, like more physical type of
Yes.
existence, for example, in the form of events.
Yes.
And now you have your physical space,
The women's lounge. I love that we said that in sync.
Yay! It's amazing
Yes.
because Sarah also hosted me and one of our previous guests, YouTuber Yo-Yo. And then there we did a storytelling and content workshop.
I
Which
love
was
that.
a fantastic space. So anyone who's based in Hong Kong or like anyone who's looking for kind of like an event venue in Hong Kong, do check out the Women's Lounge. It's lovely.
I do have to say the course by you and Yo-Yo, it was phenomenal. I use all the tips and tricks until
my
today.
God.
I can't wait for you to launch that properly. I really hope that the viewers listening to this look at that later. It is an absolute gold mine. Oh my God.
Thank
Like
you.
I was in disbelief. I'm like, how is this? What? How is this not online? Yeah. So look out for their course.
Thank you. Yeah, manifesting, we can take that internationally or online at some point.
I'll help you.
Yay. Now, but like going back to Women of Hong Kong, right? Like I really love, like I think I've been kind of following the community for quite at least a couple of years by now, and I do remember some of the very like striking quotes or like content that were coming from the community.
Yes.
I remember there was a quote that was like, "I dare you to promote another women's business."
Yes.
And that was such I still remember it today. Like ever since I saw it, I was like, wow, this is a concept that's very bold and striking.
Yes. I love that. I think that went viral. That was our first viral post on Instagram. I think we had over about I believe we had over 120 comments on that of women just tagging another woman's business.
Yeah.
And that was for me proof that, you know, women are here for it. We're ready, and it's about freaking time. It's about freaking time we had a space that didn't require so much from us, but is ready to give 10 times of what we needed.
Yeah.
I needed that. I looked for so long for a space like that. Being a Filipina in Hong Kong, there's not a lot of room for me. had to drag my chair over to the table that didn't have a seat for me. But I'm proud. I'm proud that I was resilient. I feel like a lot of Filipinos are resilient.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a trait that I was able to hold on to, building Women of Hong Kong. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I know it's not easy. Like, especially I get to see the behind the scenes from your team and from you, and how many problems you have to troubleshoot and jump on last minute every day. I understand it's like anything but easy, but I'm also very glad that Women of Hong Kong was founded by you, because you are a Hong Kong born and bred Filipina, and you are basically showing and expanding the definition of what a Hong Konger is, because a lot of people would just assume, well, a Hong Konger is like a Chinese looking person, but that's actually not the reality, because in Hong Kong there's a lot of like ethnic minorities, communities, and you know, Filipinos who are born and bred here. Some of them speak Cantonese even, and you are just showing them that you are also a Hong Konger, and you are, I mean, through and through, a woman of Hong Kong. Yeah.
I struggled with that, actually. I think that was one of the reasons why I felt the need to create a community. I struggled with my identity, thinking, okay, I'm not local, because people would tell me I don't look local. So I'm like, okay, so that means I'm not. But then I'm neither an expat too, because I don't look like your typical expat. So for a lot of years, I just didn't know where Filipinos fit. Where do I fit? Am I supposed to fit? That caused a lot of uncertainty and the lack of confidence. Oh man, the lack of confidence really hits you, because if you lack confidence in a city that is buzzing with opportunity, even if the opportunity hits you in the face, you're going to be like, not worth it. I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to do it. Who's going to believe me? Who's going to take me seriously? So when you said earlier that you read an interview where I spoke about how I didn't like myself, that was me. I didn't like that version of myself where I grew up in this city thinking I'm just not good enough and I shouldn't be really in front of people. I should always be behind the scenes. Don't be too loud. Don't ask for too much. You know, when I watched the Barbie movie and she had that speech, I was bawling. I was bawling because that sounds like every single sentence I've said about myself for so many years. So when I said in an interview for the first time, and I don't even know why I had such big balls to say that, I really meant it when I said I didn't like who I was and I was ready to change that. And building Women of Hong Kong really was just proof that if you are unhappy with your position in your life, you have all the power to change that. It's in your hands. So I'm here to prove that it can be done.
I mean, not everyone starts off liking themselves. And actually,
No.
not many people start off that way. It's a journey to learn to love yourself
Yeah.
or to believe in yourself or to know that you basically have all the magic to create what you would
You
like
absolutely look at what you've done, babe.
And you
with
too.
Proudly
Oh my God.
Asian. It's so true. Like I really believe that. I believe anyone can achieve a level of greatness if you are determined, you believe in yourself, and you're ready to be resilient because it's going to be a hard journey. But if you believe you can attain that level of greatness, nothing's going to stop you.
Mm-hmm.
I always in my mind, every month, I'm like, is this it? Maybe I should stop. This is too hard. I quit. And there's always a part of me that's like, nope, let's just keep going because this is part of the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everything worth doing is going to be hard. Or basically everything is hard. But
Yes.
you just got to choose something
You got to choose your
that you
hard.
don't mind doing.
Right? Like being broke is hard. Being jobless is hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and having a business is hard. Which hard do you want? Life is always going to be hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean I have so much respect for what you do and what you continue to
you.
do. You show up for people who who want to be you, who look like you, because like you mentioned, like at a recent event of a lovely Filipino lady walked up to you.
Bless her. I'm gonna send her this clip. Yeah. It was right after I was announced as a Prestige Women of Power honoree 2024.
Yay!
Thank you. She came up to me the next day and she just said, I've been meaning to text you, but I just wanted to say in person. And she just broke into tears and saying, like, I finally feel represented. I finally feel seen. I finally feel like I could see myself up there because you're over there. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what to say, but thank you. And I'm just going to continue trying to get us into spaces where for so long we've been told we don't belong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
that is
to
amazing.
my Filipinas, come with me.
Hey. Yeah, I think definitely we talked about how like these are one of those moments when like it just reminds you that this is why you still have to continue showing up, even though you have doubts, even though you still do struggle with like imposter syndrome, right?
All
Sometimes
the
you still
time,
think
babe.
about like, well, you shouldn't be there, but then you're up there. But then like whenever these like amazing ladies or like people who come up to you and say and just remind you why you still have to keep showing up the way that you are, like I think those are the moments that really reaffirm your mission.
It is. Sometimes I glaze over it because there's a part of me that numbs out the compliments, not because I don't want to hear it. You can relate,
Yes.
right? It's like, it's difficult to describe. And I love that we're saying this recorded because I've never had this discussion with anyone. No one's ever said to me, I can relate. The feeling of lack creates a defense mechanism in your brain that when a compliment is thrown at you, you glaze. And you're like, thank you. But internally, you're like, I don't really deserve
I
that, but
sometimes
that's okay.
even struggle to say thank you, because thank you is kind of a form of like accepting that comment, right?
Can we challenge that? Why is it so bad for us to say thanks in agreement of a great skill we have?
I mean, I don't want to say it's an Asian thing, but then like growing up in like Asian families, we're so used to
We're
that
told to be
whole-
humble.
Exactly. That model of like, okay, I got 100 points for
Yes,
this test,
yes.
but what next?
Right,
Like, what
really.
is the next best thing that you can achieve?
Yes.
There's no time to pause and celebrate the current achievement.
Yes.
And I tend to do that too. Every time
Yeah.
I hit a milestone professionally or personally, I don't pause to celebrate. I just go like, okay, what's next?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I feel like for me, from coming from the Filipino culture, when we achieve something, and this might be from toxic generational trauma, we're often told to downplay it. Like, I think the sentence in our language is "wag malaki ulo mo," which is don't get too big headed. Right? Like, you can't be telling everyone about your achievement. It's almost like leave room for us. So part of that consistent sentence in our Filipino culture of like, you can't celebrate too loudly was etched in my mind. So anytime somebody would tell me that I achieved something great, my brain would be like, okay, but don't tell anyone. don't post too much about it. And I challenged that thought just a couple weeks ago when I first got the email about Prestige. I was like, wow, I got somewhere. It's somewhere. It's top 40 of 2024 somewhere.
yes.
And I was like, why does this part of me is preventing me from celebrating this? And I'm already crying in bed looking at this email. Shout out to Oceana. I still can't believe you think I'm worth that, but thank you. I think it's just years of rewiring that we need to undo.
Yeah.
Because we're supposed to say, you're right. I am good at this. It's so hard to say.
Yes.
You're right. I did build Proudly Asian. And yes, we're 6 seasons in. Fuck yeah, I worked this hard. It's hard.
It is. Yeah.
And it's easy for me to say that about you. And it's hard for me to say, yes, I did build a community where women helped each other. And there's
Right.
13,000 of us today. I'm cringing internally, but it's something that I'm trying to undo for myself because
Yeah.
we deserve it. We deserve to sing praises about the hard work. You must have put so many hours into this, but we don't share that enough.
Exactly.
It's like we're not allowed to be proud about it enough. But you made this platform, so
God.
now I get to be proud about me and you together.
Oh.
You're practicing this after this episode.
I am. So I'm gonna like write it down and then like repeat it.
Yeah, your
every
next
day.
series, you're gonna have to say something you're proud of.
Oh my god. I actually am cringing internally right now because
Right.
like my first reaction is always like whenever people say something that's like anything remotely like complimenting me and my work, my first reaction is always kind of like brushing it off. It's like, oh, not as much as you.
Yeah.
Right?
We
Like-
deflect. I'm always like,
Yeah.
oh, but you too. And I'm like, why can't I just say thank you?
I know.
We need to switch that mentality. When you give a compliment to someone and they say thank you, don't be offended they didn't compliment you back. Because
Yeah.
the whole point is that you're giving great feedback to the person that's meant to receive it. But sometimes culturally, we give a compliment to get a compliment. That's not how it's supposed to work.
No.
Just gas each other up without expectation.
because we're just confused.
Right?
Like, does the person really mean it this time? And,
Yeah.
And then every time like someone throws a compliment at me, I just like go through this whole like like basically like 1,000
There's, like, voices.
lines. It's like, which one should I pick to respond?
I've learned to just say Thank you. I appreciate you. And cut it there and then silently scream internally and go like, why did you compliment them back?
2025. That's what we need to get good at.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. And I mean, we talked about like some of the questions that were floated in the Women of Hong Kong community. And sometimes those questions are actually really hard to find solutions for. Like some of those questions, you can't just like go on Google or ask ChatGPT and get a solution or an answer that you can relate, that you can really action with. So I'm wondering, like, what are some of the are you all right?
Yeah. It was burpy.
Okay. Do you need a water break?
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All
You're
right.
so sweet.
All right. I mean, we have post-production, so I don't care if that's
you can
continuity.
keep that in there. That was
Exactly.
authenticity. A little burp had to come out.
That's a good idea. Maybe I'll keep that in.
You should. As you were asking, the questions in the chats.
Yeah. So, yeah, what are some of the maybe problems that the community has solved collectively that you might want to highlight with us?
I'm only smiling because naturally, when you hear someone ask what were the problems, you'd assume it's like really deep and really heavy. But like the most prominent problem 2024 was, where could someone find eggless waffles? And I'm laughing because there was about 15 women in the chat that answered this question in a span of 15 minutes.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Like, people are well informed, but that's the beauty of our chats.
It is a real problem, though.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, though, there are questions there. Let's say from a business perspective, women would ask, how do I set up my business registration? What's the best way? And not only would women give you advice, but they'd also give you the cheapest options because they've experienced it. So it's so good.
Wow.
Google won't give you that. Right? Google will give you answers that are based on
ads.
Yes, ads or answers based on businesses that can afford to rewrite their SEO. So there's the business questions, there's the personal questions like waxing, and the best ones are they're like, don't go to this girl, she doesn't know how to do your eyebrows. So there's those cheeky ones, but something I'm proud of lately really is the questions from women that we're going through IVF. I have no knowledge of it. I haven't gone through it. And watching women ask these extremely vulnerable questions about what should they do if this happened to them because they're going through IVF, and other women chiming in with the answer, told me that there's a lot of women going through this, but there isn't a place for them to feel heard or get the answers or feel like they're not going through it. I don't know about you, if you know anyone that's going through IVF, but it's a really tough, exhausting, heartbreaking journey for most of them. So I was approached by one of our members, I won't disclose who, for confidentiality reasons. And she asked me if we could kickstart this group because she's seeing a lot of other women and she would love to not feel alone and maybe help them on their journey. I found another one of the members to join her in this new venture of creating that subgroup. So officially we have an IVF Warriors subgroup chat, and there are over 60 women in there. They're all going through the journey. Some of them have experienced the loss of their potential children over and over again, and they're not quitting. But that's the beauty of our community. It's not just for business. It's not just for finding leads or selling a product. It's real life scenarios that change the way people live. I'm hoping that these women, the IVF group, they're finding each other and they're finding companion in such a difficult journey. Because I really can't imagine doing that alone.
No, and sometimes it's actually nice to have a group of strangers at their fingertips, right? Because sometimes this is the type of issue that is hard to talk with, like, family or friends about, because they know you and they might actually come in with advice or suggestions that maybe coming from a place where they might be way too emotionally invested in like
Yes.
your life, right?
Yes, actually, I know that one of the members, she disclosed to me not to share her name because her family doesn't know. And so we have a confidentiality term in the group that nobody should be sharing screenshots or naming names, or sharing the conversation, because it's really, really difficult to find spaces like this. So the group, which I'm really proud of, really does operate on respect.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
and empathy. Oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
wouldn't want people talking about my privacy like that.
Yeah, and this is why we do need like people like you and your team and Women of Hong Kong to like, you know, set up these rules, you know, this mechanism so it's safe
to be
for
bad
people.
cop.
Yeah, like it's needed.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, it's fantastic to hear about the range of problems that the community has solved collectively. So, moving on to 2025, of course, it's been an amazing year, a few years for you. I mean, for Women of Hong Kong, your team. So, what have you got in store for your community? What are your goals?
So for 2025, I'm looking to launch, it was actually you and Yo-Yo that gave me this idea. And that's why I needed to call you. You and Yo-Yo gave me this crazy idea to kickstart 6-week courses for members. And we're looking to invite 6 to 8 professionals to run 1 or 2 classes within that period, so that up to 20 members can join that class for 6 weeks and learn for themselves. I believe the first one we're trying to release is focused on small business owners. So we have someone that's focused on accounting, on legal, on sales, you know, like communication skills and how to sell your business without just selling the product. And I'm still looking for the branding and content creator teachers for that. So I'm throwing this
Wow.
out there. So hopefully we can run up to 3 6-week courses in 2025 to help members feel like they're back in school for short term. If they miss a class, it's recorded and they have access to it. I'm also launching the ambassadors of Women of Hong Kong. I'm inviting amazing women around the city to advocate for what it is to be a member of the community and to really spearhead collaboration. So it's women that have been cross collaborating with other businesses, expanding opportunities for each other, and also creating social impact. So nothing too much.
Lots on the way. It sounds very exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait to see all the new projects, events, and all the milestones that you're about to hit in the coming year. But with that, it's time for us to move on to the next segment, which is called
Rapid Bias.
Oh my gosh.
In this segment, I'll be asking my guests biased questions that they've got asked at some point in life. So, Sarah, are you ready for all the tough questions coming your way?
Yes. I have like side eye.
You're also well trained for this, so
Am I?
I guess you you can tell us about that. So, first question, Sarah.
Okay.
This is coming from mostly men. Why would women need a community? Don't they have husbands?
I remember being asked this question the moment I was asked what I did. And when I said I founded a community called Women of Hong Kong, and when they said, what was that? I simply answered back, it's a free network for women to connect and meet each other so we could provide support for each other. And that's why that question came about. When he asked me that, why would women need a community when they have husbands, I can honestly tell you that I didn't know what to say. I said because women have other needs. I recall saying that, and they're like what? And I'm like, a sense of community, a sense of belonging. And oh my God, his next answer was, but women belong in the kitchen. So where else would I know? Your face. So let's just say it was a 25-minute long conversation and my first experience at a conversation that was really leading towards patriarchy. And I finally understood why I had to keep going with Women of Hong Kong.
And you managed to put up 25 minutes of it.
Yes, because I responded with a lot of logic, which I was very proud of. Even though it triggered me, I was proud of myself for exercising a sense of self-awareness that maybe he's just uneducated and this is a great opportunity to break it down for him. And it's up to him if he wants to change his mind or not. I'm not here to change people's minds. I'm here to answer your questions.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And I don't know if you agree, like, I mean, when it comes to like women's communities, like, I mean, the main point is not really to shut out the men also. I think they should very much be a part of the conversation.
Absolutely. Like, this isn't about women are better than men or that this is the world is for women. It's not that. It's understanding that men have different traits and skills and women also have different traits and skills. And with that said, men have specific needs, but so do women.
Exactly.
Right now, women's needs are a little bit more expanded and not everyone can deliver that need. Therefore, only women know what women really need. And that's not a bad thing. It's a safe space for us to continue building so we can continue to operate with each other. You know, yin and yang, or like,
Yes.
you know, just
We need
north-
balance.
Exactly. Like we need a sense of balance. So what men need isn't exactly what women need either.
Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes it's not even about equality because, like, I don't ever think, I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I don't think men and women can ever become equal.
No,
But
I agree.
This is why equity is
Yes.
more important. It's to
Yes.
understand both genders are coming from like different starting points.
Yes.
They have different sets of challenges. And
Yes.
sometimes women are being challenged, you know, with a perception of like, oh, they belong in the kitchen. Or like
Yes.
even for working women during COVID, there were a lot of studies documenting that like they are still expected to take care of, you know, like home chores,
Yes,
you know,
yes,
caring
yes.
for elderly and children despite they are still working full time. Right?
Yeah, the expectation right now is not really an even playing field, but you're right. It's also not really about equality. It is about equity. Not many people explore that word. Equity, it's imagine having like a piece of pie, right? And you try equality is cutting it all the same size. But what equity means is maybe somebody's allergic to an ingredient in the pie, so you have to give them a different type of pie, right? But you don't exclude them just because they're allergic. You have to try to find a way to make it work for them.
Yeah.
So equity really is trying to cater to people that need it more than, oh, but this is what you get and this is also what you get because that's what the
everyone
other
gets the
person.
same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
So I love that you brought that up.
No,
Not
you
a lot
put
of
it
people.
beautifully as well. The pie analogy, I love that. And all right, going back to the difficult question, Sarah.
Okay, let's go.
Second question. Oh, you are the founder.
Oh God.
After scanning the room filled with expats looking for who they would perceive as the founder of such a successful community.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't understand it too much. I guess I get it.
It goes back to that, like, you don't look like a founder.
No.
You don't look like you're that
I'm
successful.
not. Yeah,
right?
I assume it's because I'm Filipino, or I'm not your generic successful leader by image. And by history, I'm not that either. I don't have much to say about that except here it is. Here's what I really want to say about that. It's that let's not judge people's capabilities based on how they look. You'd be so surprised at how many capable people there are and what they can achieve. An example for me is most people treat domestic workers as if all they can do is cook and clean. But oh my gosh, you'd be so surprised at how many of them hold diplomas or know how to create a 3D mapping for interior design, or are amazing chefs, not just for your family, but they know how to create recipes. They're extremely resourceful. Some of them are amazing with math. But the default thinking of when you see a migrant worker is they're just here to cook and clean. The reason that that's the ceiling above them, that's where the limit is because not enough of us is going like, hey, she looks like she could do XYZ. So much more, right? Give them opportunities. Give them a shot. Don't just think they don't know how to use a computer. They're people. They're women that have raised children. They have gone out of their comfort zone to migrate to a whole new territory just to create a life for their family. And you're telling me you think they're not capable. They are one of the most surprising groups of people you could ever meet. They have so much joy to give. For me, sometimes I'm like, when you look at me and you think I don't look like a leader, that's fine. But I really, really want to challenge people, the audience, listeners, change your perspective about who you're looking at because you never know who has something up their sleeve. You never know who's the next Einstein or the person to come up with something insanely innovative. You just got to give people a shot.
Wow. You can drop the mic now.
Oh my God. Yeah. My mom, I guess why I'm so passionate about it is because my mom was a migrant worker. And a lot of people don't know that. I am the first of my family to be born outside of Hong Kong because my mom took a shot and said, I'm going to work overseas. And because her employers was so kind to her, treated her with just a basic decency, she flourished. Imagine how many other Sarahs could have been born from migrant workers and is potentially helping try to impact in various ways. I'm not saying I'm a hero, but I think I'm not doing a bad job at helping people. But imagine how many more of us would be there if you just said to your auntie when you went home and really ask her, hey, how are you really doing? Are you okay? And not just be like, how was your day? And then just dismiss her. Ask her, is everything all right? Look at them like people.
Yes. And I remember, I wasn't sure if it was your IG or like someone's social media account. I remember seeing this quote saying, trust people who trust you.
Yeah. I love that quote too. Because you have to believe that people also have your best interest. Learn the power of discerning if people don't have that. But by default, you have to have a positive perspective in life to achieve good things. Because if you're always on the defense, then
and really I mean the reality is like not everyone's going to see that in you, and this is why you should focus on people who do.
Yes.
Yeah. So which is why I mean you created such a beautiful community where like everyone's kind of trying to do that for each other.
Yeah.
But we're not done with rapid bias yet. So
I love how we're going to these questions all funny and stuff, and then we just like dive into. Sorry, I just had so much passion about answering that.
Absolutely, I love that. I love that. I mean, these are funny and very like uninformed, stupid questions.
And very real, very real.
Yeah, I can tell. Like, I mean, the next one is, I guess, a lot can relate to this one. You look tired.
Oh my God.
And by the way, you don't today, despite you had a long day.
I think there's some questions that people don't mean harm, but because of society's way of creating conversations for the sake of conversations, have you had those feelings where people just ask you the most randomest but repetitive questions for the sake of filling the air with conversation?
Oh my God.
Almost like they're afraid to have silence. I used to be this person. I used to, let's grab coffee, and like you never do. But you just say it because it's what people say.
Yeah.
That's why I'm always like, please exercise self-awareness even in conversation. You don't have to always ask the default questions. So yeah, that you look tired. I believe they don't mean harm with it, but if you're listening, please remove that from your sentence structure of default things to ask or say. It's never nice. Nobody
If you
feels
put that
great.
through Google Translate, it translates to you look ugly.
Yeah. You don't look well kept. And even if they do, you could just be like, hey, do you need a break? That's okay. Hey, do you need a moment? If you're talking to your staff or your team.
That's better.
If you're talking to a stranger or someone you haven't seen in a while, please don't say that.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
I basically responded and I said, actually, I think I look really good today. And they were baffled. They're like,
I'm actually surprised you don't look tired, Sarah, given how much you do.
shout out to Benefit Cosmetics. Their concealer is amazing.
Oh my god, I was about to ask like all about your like makeup products, and we're we're gonna ask about that after.
Really? I'm ready. I'm
And
ready.
Next up, this is related to your situation back when you were 21 and a single parent. Like people would have questions like, oh, where's the husband from? You know, where's the father? What happened? Or, wow, you look so young. You don't look like a mother.
Yeah, I got a lot of that. For the audience that don't know, I had my son at the age of 21, became a single parent, and honestly, life threw me a lot of curveballs. But I think those questions were difficult for me to answer because I didn't know that you're not supposed to ask that. So I would just giggle. I don't know where he is either. But again, if you're listening, try not to ask a single parent that question. It's already uncomfortable. They also might not know. And even if they do, it's not your business. That's the advice I'd give. I think it's the same as just asking those really odd questions on a random day. As we were saying previously, we have default questions or statements we just throw out there to fill the air. Like if you're at a family reunion, you get the, when are you getting married? Like, it's not your business. Auntie, when are you getting divorced? Right?
I love that. It's almost Lunar New Year.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I can already see the family reunions or the
God.
Christmas dinner, the conversations about like, so when are you having your next child? Like,
Ooh.
I think there's just a part of us that again is hardwired into filling the air with questions, but let's use this season, the start of this year, to exercise not being so nosy and only ask questions because we're genuinely interested.
Yeah. Like, just be mindful. I mean, I guess it's really hard to kind of like put out a guide as in like what questions to ask and not to ask. But I think the general, like principle is that don't come with an attitude as if you deserve an answer.
Yes, the entitled air.
Yeah.
That's what they call it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And next question, Sarah.
Okay.
You don't look depressed.
Oh, that was hard for me. I was going into a panel, a live panel, and I was disclosing behind the scenes before the panel started how I was going through a lot because one of the speakers had asked me, "How are you?" And I was tired that day and I decided to be honest. I'm going through a lot and I'm feeling really depressed. I'm going through depression. She's like, "You don't look depressed." I'm like,
what is depressed?
I mean, we're
supposed to look
lady,
like?
we're about to go on panel. That's why I have hair and makeup. Like, I guess it's one of those questions again, right? Like, you just gotta stop asking or saying the statements. You don't look depressed. You don't look like a mom. You don't look like this. You don't look like that. What does any of that even look like?
Exactly.
What does a mom look like? I'm a mom, and then people say you don't look like a mom. Again, harmless statement, but we gotta eradicate that from our list of default responses. And you don't look depressed, you might hurt someone that's really mentally going through something difficult. So,
Just let people be what they are.
Yes. If you ever hear someone say, "I'm going through depression," or "I feel depressed," you do not I repeat, you do not have to solve their problem in that moment. All you got to do is say, I hear you. That's okay. And if you have the ability to create space for them, you say, I'm here if you want to talk. You don't have to make the statement, you don't look depressed.
Yeah.
Because there's no look for depression.
No, I
No.
agree. That was a powerful statement. Whew.
It's like, oh my God.
We still have one more to go.
Let's go. Let's go.
And finally, ooh, you're Filipino. I love adobo.
Oh.
I love adobo though.
I do love adobo, but I find it odd. When
I'm surprised they know adobo.
I think it's the default food. It's the default food on the dictionary of things to know about Filipino food. So I get that, but I don't know what to say. And now I'm just responding back. Like if they're of Southeast Asian descent, then I'll respond to the food that is from their country too. And then they make a face like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, sir. I like Thai food too. That's funny because I think it's their bid of trying to connect with you, right? And then that's okay. Again, harmless, but a little off-putting because I am more than just the cuisine of my country. And I could be vegetarian. So.
True. But the beauty of adobo is you can make
That's right.
veggie adobo.
You can make veggie, but please don't do that. Please don't do that. It is made with meat.
So it's a no-go.
It's a no-go. It's a no-dobo.
Okay, good to know. Well, we got through all the rapid fire questions. Congratulations.
I need more. That was not enough. I'm ready.
You need to come back. And for us to wrap up the episode, as some of our listeners already know, we do have a collective Proudly Asian Spotify playlist
Okay.
that we are collecting everyone's recommendations on their favorite songs, artists who make them feel proudly Asian or who are proudly Asian. So I would like to invite you to contribute a song
Okay.
to the playlist. So what is that going to be?
Mine is called Harana. And in English, that means like a song that literally means a song, a love song. I can't sing it because, like I said,
No,
I can't
I'm not
sing.
going to make you. That's
I might
not
though
a
on our
requirement.
subscribe channel. But I'd love to add that. It shows how Filipinos are really, really, really romantic people. And it's just a love song from one man to a woman asking, would you like me to sing you a love song?
Ooh, that sounds lovely. A serenade.
Yes.
Wow. And I'm definitely going to add that to our playlist.
Yay.
And finally, Sarah, one last question for
Okay.
you. What does it mean to be proudly Filipina to you?
What it means for me to be proudly Filipina is that I get the rare opportunity to represent women or people like me, people in our city, Filipinos in our city that used to think this is the limit, this is the sky, but actually we can go further than that. So, yeah. I really think we're so much capable, so skilled, and we have the heart of gold as Filipinos.
Yes. Keep expanding that and breaking the ceiling for everyone. Thank you so much, Sarah, for
Thank
joining us on
you.
Proudly Asian.
That's it for this episode of Proudly Asian. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at proudly.asian for more content. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Leave us a 5-star review on wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in and signing off for now. I'm Isabel Wong.